Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Arlington Weekly News. We have a great program today. I'm Daniel Pineda.
I'm Richard Corris.
My name's Adele Quo.
Like I said, we have a great program. We have a lot to talk about, actually. News. It's that time.
It's easy being green.
We can't forget CBB. We also have Denise Pringle with the golf. She's going to be reviewing that. Also, our senior stories. And then Miriam Gennari has a great segment, Green and Sexy Leonard Robinson. That should be an awesome segment. But first, just a reminder, you can watch the Arlington Weekly News on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Arlington Weekly News and the number 1. Also, facebook.com/Arlington Weekly News. And on to our first news story for tonight. The Arlington County Police Department wants you to hand your drugs over to them. Don't worry, it's okay. The Arlington County Police Department, Arlington County Sheriff's Office, and the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, are providing locals with an opportunity to dispose of their potentially dangerous, expired, unused, and unwanted prescription drugs by bringing them to 3 designated collection sites on October the 22nd from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. for disposal, according to a statement from the Arlington Police Department. The service is free and anonymous. The statement reads, "No questions asked. Medicines that languish in home cabinets are highly susceptible to diversion, misuse, and abuse," it continues. Rates of prescription drug abuse in the United States are high, as are a number of accidental poisoning and overdoses due to these drugs. Studies show that a majority of abused prescription drugs are obtained from family and friends, including from the home medicine cabinet. The disposal sites are Fire Station Number 1, 500 South Glebe Road in Arlington, Virginia, 22204. Fire Station Number 8, 4845 Lee Highway, Arlington, Virginia, 22207. Fire Station Number 9, 1900 South Walter Reed Drive, that's in Arlington, Virginia, 22204. To learn more, visit the website deaddiversion.usdoj.gov for more information. Richard.
Residents in 3 Arlington voting precincts have received erroneous voter cards from the county. The Washington Post reports that about 9,000 Arlington voters received mailings with incorrect information. Voters in the Crystal City, Wilson, Roslyn area, and Abingdon, Fairlington precincts were sent cards that listed incorrectly the Lion Park Community Center as their voting location. Those who live in the Abingdon precinct also received an erroneous flyer intended for Wilson precinct viewers. Wilson and Crystal City voters received the correct flyer. County Registrar Linda Lindberg said they are sending new cards with a letter of apology. She added, "I personally proofed the new cards, so I know they are correct." The county mailroom has taken full responsibility for the error and are working to get the correct information out to voters as soon as possible. Daniel.
Thank you so much, Richard. Well, Arlington residents took getting involved in the arts to another level. On Saturday, October the 15th, Arlington's interactive public art initiative went live from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Photographer and artist Linda Hesh took photos of locals engaging with her sculpture called C_VIC. 6-foot tall letter C followed by a gap and then the word VIC. People stepped into the space between C and VIC and came up with the creative ideas of how to pose. For more information, visit the website, that is reimaginecivic.com, to see the results. Richard.
Governors Terry McAuliffe, Democrat Virginia, and John Kasich, Republican Ohio, helped to dedicate the newly named Schar School of Policy and Government at George Mason University's Arlington campus last Monday afternoon. The school is now named after Dwight C. Schar, founder of the home builder NVR Incorporated, who donated $10 million to GMU. Among those in attendance at the event was Arlington County Board member Jay Fassett. The Schar School educates about 2,000 undergraduate and graduate students each year, and it has more than 80 faculty and more than 13,000 alumni. The school offers a range of public policy and government topics, including regional economics, global terrorism, security, public health, transportation, and many other areas. The faculty includes Carnegie and Guggenheim Fellows, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, a former congressman, and the former head of the CIA and NSA. Daniel.
Richard, thank you very much. The 41st Marine Corps Marathon Weekend will feature events from October the 28th through the 30th in Arlington, Virginia, the nation's capital, and now the National Harbor. On Sunday, October the 30th, there will be road closures from 3:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Some of the streets include Marshall Drive, North Meade Street, Wilson Boulevard, Southeast Long Bridge Drive, Crystal Drive, and Washington Boulevard. Street parking in the area will be restricted. Motorists should be on the lookout for temporary no parking signs. The Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department and United States Park Police will close multiple roadways in Washington, D.C. in support of the race. Please contact these agencies directly for information regarding their road closures. Legally parked vehicles may be ticketed or towed. If your vehicle is towed from a public street, give them a call. That's at 703-558-2222. And Richard, it is that time. You know that time, right?
Yes.
It's Adele and It's Easy Being Green. You got a little ahead of there, Richard.
Yay.
Yeah. Hey, Adele, how are you?
Hey, thanks for that, guys. Welcome back to another It's Easy Being Green. My name is Adele Quo. I've got my mascot Joe joined here by Sally Squirrel because we all know that trees are important for clean air, but trees are also important for clean water. They act as nature's water filter. After a big rain event, trees help to filter out pollutants from our hard surfaces runoff, carrying car oil, chemicals, and trash before entering our local waterways. As of 2011, Arlington's tree canopy cover has decreased from approximately 43% in 2008 to 40% in 2011. A large contributor to canopy loss is on private property due to development, poor tree maintenance, and storms. On a glorious autumn Saturday, Arlington tree-hugging volunteers turned out to support 2 green events as part of Arlington County's efforts to preserve our urban tree canopy. The seed collection event took place at the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery, where approximately 75 volunteers went nuts for clean water by collecting acorns and other native tree seeds. Field guides were distributed to help volunteers of all ages and backgrounds ID the native seeds to be collected. The treasure hunt involved only seeds off the ground, intact and whole. Forester Jim McGlone from the Virginia Department of Forestry joined in to make sure all the collected seeds were properly separated out by tree species into different bags. The bags of tree seeds will be given to state nurseries, where they will be grown into seedlings and planted the following year on private properties, near streams, and in forests throughout Virginia. Those collected seeds could become the seedlings for next year's annual fall free tree distribution. The tree giveaway event is designed to distribute small native tree species between 2 to 4 feet tall in 2-gallon containers to residents who will plant the trees and care for them on private property. This year, 400 Arlingtonians registered for their free Northern Virginia native tree seedling. Volunteer tree stewards and Arlington County landscape staff were on hand to help participants pick their native tree and give out educational materials on planting guidelines, tree care, and maintenance. The grounds certainly buzzed with excitement that day. For many delighted families and kids, it was like Christmas came early as they proudly selected and carried away their new tree prize. Just volunteering a few hours one Saturday can make a lot of difference being green and working towards increasing our existing tree canopy. So remember, it's easy being green.
I like that. Went nuts. That's such a
right.
great line. But it's such a great and important event, right? To have plants all over the area, right in Virginia.
We definitely want more trees.
Absolutely, and we want it to be green.
That's right. And I had a great time, so
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adele,
you.
for that. And now to our CBB stories for tonight, Richard. Continuing with the upcoming Marine Corps Marathon weekend, they are also looking for volunteers to help out. Some of the volunteer tasks include providing information, manning runner packets, and T-shirt pickup stations, helping at water points, collecting and recycling, and much more. Visit the website for more information. That is at tinyurl.com/MCM volunteer registration to register. Richard.
For those of you who admire the plays of Lillian Hellman, the Arena stage is presenting The Little Foxes. It's one of those wonderful old drawing room dramas about family members trying to claw their way to wealth and comfort. The cast features Marge Helgenberger as Regina Giddens, Jack Willis as Horace Giddens, and Isabel Keating as Bertie Hubbard, along with Edward Giro as Benjamin Hubbard, Gregory Lingington as Oscar Hubbard, and Stanton Nash as Leo Hubbard. The show runs through October 30th. For information and for tickets, call 202-554-9066.
Richard, such a great event. I mean, really great. And another great event, our friends in Opera Nova will be presenting an autumn musical feast on October the 30th at 3 p.m. Vocal performers will include Jose Sasson, Elisa Jenkins, and Jacqueline Hunt, with special guest Russian soprano Julia Petruk. They will be accompanied by Zolt Balog on piano. The event will be held at our Savior Lutheran Church, which is located at 825 South Taylor Street in Arlington. All admissions are payable at the door, but reservations are urged. General admission is only $5 and senior admission is only $3. Great event, Richard.
Community Bulletin Board volunteered, NOC Food Distribution Assistants. The Bonder and Amanda Johnson Community Development Corporation, known as BAJ-CDC, is the host for the AFAC food distribution on Saturday morning. This providing supplemental food to our families in need in our community. Food distribution begins at 11 a.m., so they ask that volunteers arrive no later than 10:30 a.m. to assist with setup and receive instructions. The distribution takes place at their offices located at 229 Shirlington Road. For more information, call 703-229-5650. Daniel.
Richard, such a really important event that they're doing.
Yeah.
Now to our next story for tonight. The Leadership Center for Excellence wants you to share your ideas for the future of Volunteer Arlington. Volunteer Arlington is a key community resource for volunteerism. New director Lisa Feitz will be on hand at this free open house. The event will be on Wednesday. That's November the 9th from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. in the Central Library Auditorium. You can RSVP online, and the website is leadercenter.org/VOL-ARL open house for more information. And now we go to our next great interviewer, and she's a great reviewer, Denise Pringle, as she's going to be reviewing the golf.
Signature in Shirlington is hosting the world premiere of a dark contemporary relationship comedy by Audrey Cephaly. Kendra, an avid angler, has invited Betty along for a day of fishing in the shallows of their local Alabama Delta. Betty has brought a self-help book and a basket of snacks to entertain herself as she accompanies her girlfriend on what seems to be a lazy afternoon. The difference in the girls' personalities is immediately apparent. Betty is social and charming and intent on improving her life. She is planning to go to junior college. Kendra is intense and brooding, happy enough in a dead-end job as long as she can go fishing to relieve the inevitable monotony of her life. The day's conversation is the typical fare, with a bit of bickering thrown in to spice things up. However, when Kendra discovers that her boat has engine trouble and that she and Betty are stranded, the afternoon changes course toward a more volatile destination. Suddenly, the cozy little boat becomes claustrophobic as the girls examine not only their current predicament, but the very foundation of their relationship. They are in love, but do they really like each other? While Signature is known for its large and lavish musical productions, it has a serious commitment to encouraging new works like The Gulf. Under the direction of Joe Calarco, Signature veterans Maria Rizzo and Rachel Zampelli breathe life into these characters. You can't help but root for Betty and her youthful desire to broaden her horizons, but at the same time have respect for the gritty resolve of Kendra, who isn't sure that her life is broken, or if Betty is the girl to fix it. Signature's small arc theater is a perfect place to mount this intimate play. And the clever design of the open ribs of the boat and its ability to rotate allow close inspection of the girls. There is a suggestion of silvery waterways and Spanish moss and flickering lights, all you need to draw you into the story. The girls will continue to fish and fight through November 6th. I'm Denise Pringle, filling in for Rich Masabny. Now back to the news desk.
Denise, thank you so much for that review. The Gulf. Well, now to our senior stories for tonight. Those of you that belong to the 55 plus programs probably know about the exercise classes offered and the exercise facilities available at Thomas Jefferson Middle School, Lubber Run Community Center, Arlington Mill Community Center, and the Barcroft Athletic Center. These are all well-equipped facilities, and the class instructors are professionals. Exercise and physical activity are essential for staying in good physical and mental health. For those of you that haven't taken advantage of the 55 plus programs or these facilities, you need to look at them. Call them at 703-228-1700 for more information. Richard.
Yeah, I exercise 7 days a week, and it helps me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Join astronomer Jennifer Lynn Bartlett as she takes a brief look at the astronomical basis of our modern calendar and how we attempt to reconcile the movement of sun, moon, and earth. That will be Thursday, October 27 at Langston Brown from 11 a.m. to noon. Call 703-228-6300 for more details. Daniel.
Richard, thank you so much. Well, the change that retirement makes and the stages that it follows have a significant impact on how we continue to live our lives and who we are. The workshop will review a variety of retirement approaches and will offer suggestions on how to adapt them to your life. Join Christina Schultz of the Falls Church Wellness Center at Lee on Thursday, that's October the 27th, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Give her a call. That's at 703-228-0555 for more information. Richard.
It's the day for tricks or treats at Culpeper Gardens. Wear your Halloween costume if you choose to play a game and win a prize. There'll be plenty of treats at this holiday social on Friday, October 28th from 1 to 2 p.m. It's a popular event, so you must pre-register by calling Culpeper Gardens at 703-228-4403.
Richard, thank you so much. Trick or treat, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Costumes.
Well, now we go on to our next segment for tonight. Miriam Gennari, as she interviews green and sexy Leonard Robinson. Take it away, Miriam.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Sustainable Scoop. I'm very excited to have a guest with me today that you may have heard on WERA. He is our very own Mr. Green and Sexy, Leonard Robinson. Enviro Bro is what I like to call him. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
I've been wanting to have a conversation with you about your background, and I really think it's important that people understand, even your radio listeners, where you came from and how you came to be so green and so sexy. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in the environmental movement in California.
Well, when I graduated high school, I figured I didn't have an NBA caliber outside jump shot, so I figured I better go to school and learn something. So my first job was working with the County of Los Angeles, and they used to use acid and cyanide to break down the sewage. And my job was to make sure the acid didn't go in the cyanide tank and the cyanide didn't go in the acid tank. So I asked my boss one day, I said, what happens if I get them mixed up? He says, you're going to kill everybody downwind. That's a lot of responsibility for an 18-year-old that loved to party. But it was part of a pollution control plant. That's what they called it back then. And I loved it. I said, wow, I'm actually, people are in production, but I'm at the other end of production, which is pollution control. So I started there, decided to go to school for it. Took 7 years, got my 4-year degree. And then I started working for various companies. I worked for LA County, then I worked for a private company. Then I started my own business, called it Faithful Waste Management, and I tell people how to recycle. Then I was an environmental manager at a steel mill. It was a steel mill in California, the most environmentally challenging state, and it was a steel mill. So I started working there. Then I get a call on the phone, and they said, this is the office of Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'd like you to work at his administration. So I said, I have nothing better to do. So I went up to Sacramento and I became Chief Deputy Director for the Department of Toxic Substances Control. I stayed there. Governor Schwarzenegger left. Governor Brown came in, so I figured, okay, I'm a political appointee, I'm gone. Well, when I came back from vacation, he had appointed me to director of the department. So I stayed there 6 months, and now I just, so that's it in a nutshell. There's a whole bunch of stuff in between, but I love what I do.
Well, the thing about California and why it's so exciting that you're bringing some of those ideas here to the DC metro area is that really is where all of the great environmental movements began. It's almost like there was less argument and more consensus, and for some reason, and you have to tell me why was California so willing to make the first steps in trying to protect and improve the environment?
Well, California figured a way that you had to protect the environment, but then made a business element to it. So to one crowd, the business crowd, they said, we're going to create jobs, and this is going to create jobs and create markets and everything. And one of the side things is going to protect the environment. Told the environmentalist, we're going to protect the environment, we're going to do great things, and one of the side things is going to create jobs. So it was just one of those things where California marketed it to the business and to the environmentalists.
Such a positive spin
Yes.
on both sides.
Yes.
It's a win-win, right?
It is. Now, there was a lot of arguing and cussing and everything in between, but they agreed to agree or agreed to disagree. They came to common ground. It was businesses and the environmentalists agreed this is the best move. Businesses said we can leverage this. The environmentalists said this is protect the environment.
And then the government really provided the kickstart, right?
Yeah, they do.
And on I guess of all the things I knew about Arnold Schwarzenegger, I never really connected the environment. Maybe because he's a Republican, and
Right.
a lot of people think that Democrats are the party of the
Right.
environment. Tell me, how does it work in California with the government?
California nationally, yeah, it seems like you think you can't be a environmentalist and be Republican, but a lot of the major environmental movements were done by Republicans. Richard Nixon started the United States Environmental Protection Agency.
He did.
Ronald Reagan signed the Clean Air Act. Jerry Ford signed the Clean Water Act. Arnold Schwarzenegger put together California's climate change policy. And the reason it worked is because there was a business element to it. It made sense to business. It wasn't just a tax thing. It made sense to business. It put people to work. Every governor wants to put people to work. So they made it work that way. It was just finding the common solution.
So I've been working on a project to try to eliminate single-use styrofoam for years.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to government leaders. I've gone to different events. I've pulled people together in a room. But for some reason or another, the DC metro area doesn't seem to have that motivation or that spark. And then I sat down and spoke to you for 10 minutes, and you had like 3 or 4 other great ideas that nobody had thought of.
So if you hang around long enough, things stick to you. So, yeah, it is. I've seen a lot. And see, it's not enough to have a good idea. You have to have the advocacy. You've got to get the partnership. There's an expression I like to use called everybody likes a better mousetrap except the mouse.
Right.
You got to figure out who that mouse is.
And I guess that would be the people who produce
Right.
polluting items like, plastic bags or water
Right.
bottles. And so you have to figure out how to get them on board and, be open to change.
Right. Well, it's people worried about losing their jobs. So you think, if I put this in, what is this going to eliminate? Will this eliminate jobs? So you come in, you had solutions. This is the challenge, but this is a solution that can be a win-win scenario. That's how you have to do it.
And now tell me a little bit about your radio show and what motivates you to do that show every week.
Oh, well, I actually had a show in Southern California, and it was called the Leonard Robinson Show. The reason why I called it that, because I didn't want to forget the name of it. You know, when the engineer said, you know, you're on. And then I went up to Sacramento, and I used to complain that none of the stations were talking about the environment in an interesting way.
So it looks like we're just about out of time, so you'll have to come back
Yes.
and see me again and remind everybody of your station and when you air.
Yes, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. on WERA 96.7 FM, the greenest station in the nation.
Green and sexy. Thanks so
Yes.
much for being with me today, Leonard.
All right.
It's Leonard Robinson, Green and Sexy, Enviro Bro. I want to thank all of you for watching The Sustainable Scoop. We'll see you next time. Back to the news desk.
Miriam, great job. And I like that. Green and sexy Leonard Robinson. He's bringing sexy back. Absolutely, right?
With the green.
Yeah,
Green and
great
sexy.
segment. Well, everyone, we have a great special event next week, so please stay tuned. It's going to be our Halloween special. Amy Sue will be here. Nort and his brain will also be here, and it's going to be such a great show. What are some of the interesting costumes that you've seen?
Well, I think we've talked about the scary clowns
Yes.
that are making an appearance recently.
Oh,
Yeah, the scary clown. I
They-
hope we don't have scary clowns.
No, scary clowns are a really scary bad thing.
And I remember I was telling you that Chucky is
Oh,
my
man.
least favorite. Both of us,
Chucky
we hate
is
Chucky.
way scarier.
I mean, are there any non-scary clowns? I mean, I just don't get them.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
How about you? You were mentioning some of the costumes that you've
Well, I
seen.
saw one girl who was a unicorn.
Oh, that's-
Yeah,
She had a
that's
horn in the
interesting.
middle of her head. And I asked her if she could cure cancer.
Oh,
my
okay.
gosh.
Yeah.
But anyways, it should be such a great show, and I'm very
Yes.
excited. We've been talking about it, the whole crew.
We'll have a creepy being green. So that should be fun.
Any teases that you can share?
Oh,
I know it's really
you gotta
early. We don't want to
stay
share it.
tuned. It's something really special.
And have you been to haunted houses?
Well, I think I might check some out. Yeah, there's going to be a Field of Screams that I want to check out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully no clowns.
And Richard, how about movies? Have any scary Halloween movies? that
Oh,
you've seen?
I mostly think of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Still
Scary
going on?
Halloween movies.
Or the
How
Saw.
many of those?
The
Oh.
Saw.
Saw.
I love that
It's
movie.
like
How about the classics? Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Saw Massacre.
Well, great. And we're going to have a great segment next week, so please stay tuned. And thank you so much for watching the Arlington Weekly News this week. We'll see you for a Halloween special next week.
Our Halloween spooktacular.